Hey everybody! Today I'm bringing you a video that I think will help a lot of you. This is just going to help you know the basics, the products and tools you need for day-to-day makeup application that are really going to make all the difference in the world. I just want you to know that really it's not very hard. If you just know a few tips and tricks, it'll really make all the difference for you. So, to begin, I'm just going to go kind of in order of how I would apply these on my face. And just so you know, this isn't going to be like a tutorial or anything. This is just going to be step by step. This is what you should have for this, and so on and so forth. And in a coming video, I will actually be doing the makeup application from start to finish, so you can see the magic in action. You can see how each product is applied and how each product is going to work. So, when I start doing my makeup, the first thing I do is use a makeup setting spray. Now, a lot of people will use a primer before they start their makeup, and that works too, but I just haven't been able to really find one that did much for me. This is the Urban Decay De-Slick Makeup Setting Spray, and it's supposed to be for oil control. What a lot of people don't know about setting sprays is that you can actually apply them before and after you put your makeup on. So this will kind of act as a sticky sort of base for your foundation and all your other products to go on top of. And I say sticky, but I don't mean like sticky, but it'll just give your makeup something to cling to on your skin, so it lays the foundation for the foundation. And then I also spray it at the very end of my makeup. Now what that does for me is it makes my face look less powdery. It gives my face more of a natural and glowy kind of look. And you would think for an oil control spray that it wouldn't give you a dewy sort of look, but it really does. And it's in the best way possible. So it just finishes the job and makes you look really put together and nice. Okay, now the next tip is pretty important. I always make sure to do my eyeshadow before I do anything else. Like, I will spray this, and then I'll start doing my eyeshadow. And the reason for that is I don't want to have to deal with fallout from eyeshadow. And fallout is just when the powder falls down under here while you're applying it. Sometimes that can happen. And also I like to clean up my eyeshadow with my concealer. So I start by doing my eyeshadow. Another super important thing, I'm probably going to say this about a lot of stuff, but honestly, if you don't do any of these other tips, please do this one. This is Eyeshadow Primer. I don't know if everybody has this problem. Probably not. Maybe if you have dry skin you don't have this problem, but I know I sure do. If I don't use an eyeshadow primer, my eyeshadow will crease like nobody's business all throughout the day. I'll have little lines of eyeshadow that's been built up in my crease. And what eyeshadow primer does is it prevents that. It just gives you the best, smoothest looking, most perfect eyeshadow all day long. It helps it look exactly the same at the end of the day as it did when you put it on in the morning. My world changed when I discovered eyeshadow primer and started using it. Please, please do this if you have a problem with creasing. Another thing this will do for you is it'll make your eyeshadows apply smoother for one thing, and it will also help them to look more pigmented, or in other words, it'll make the color show better. What you want to do for eyeshadow is make sure that you have a really good set of eyeshadows. That's what I would recommend. My favorite consistently is the Urban Decay Naked Palette. This eyeshadow palette gives me 12 different shades. It is on the pricey side, but honestly, if you just buy this one palette, I mean, you probably won't need to buy anything else. If all you're wanting to do is everyday neutral, natural looks, this is great for that. And there's also some deeper, more exciting colors on this end that you can create some crazier looks with. So just get yourself some basic eyeshadows. The easiest way to do it is buying them in a palette like this. My next tip comes with some Scotch tape. It seems strange, probably, to use Scotch tape on your face, but this will help you so much, especially while you're learning how to do eyeshadow looks. The way you would use this is you'll take a little bit of tape. You'll just take a piece of tape roughly this size, and before you put it onto your face, You'll put it on the back of your hand a couple times to get some of the sticky off so you're not like ripping your skin off by the end of this. But this is after eyeshadow primer and before eyeshadow, by the way. You'll want to do this step. So you will take the tape and put it on your face, roughly from the outer corner of your eye up to the tip of, or up to the tail of your eyebrow. And you'll want to make sure it's a smooth, flat, straight line right there. What the tape will help you do is create a nice, clean eyeshadow look without much effort. Because you can basically just smear anything on there and it's gonna look good in the end because you don't have to be super precise with it. Lift it off and you'll have a nice, clean, straight line. Another thing you can do is, if you don't want to use tape on your face, which I used to use tape for a little while, but then I just really didn't like the way it felt to peel it off my face. It didn't feel right to me. You can be sloppy, and then what you'll want to do is take one of these triangle cosmetic sponges. I'm sure you've seen these in Walmart and other places. But you will wet this and put concealer under your eyes and then clean up the line with the edge of this. As you can see, it gives a perfectly straight line, and it's just the right size to do right there. So you'll just put some concealer over top of the eyeshadow, just that little bit that goes outside the line you want it to be, and you'll have a nice clean line. You can buy packs of these sponges. It comes with like tons of them, and they're not going to last you a real long time, but they're so cheap and you get so many in a package that it's really not that big of a deal to go through them kind of quickly. But my number one tip for using these for makeup application is to get them wet before you use them. So just run this under some water until it's completely soaked with water, and then squeeze out all the excess. And that will keep this from absorbing all of your makeup. Because I know for a while I hated these things because it seemed like all they really did was just soak up my makeup and, you know, waste product. But when it's already soaked up all that water, there's not really any room for the makeup to soak in. So, and it also just helps make blending a lot more seamless. It makes it so easy to blend your makeup out. So get some of these. Something a lot of people leave out of their makeup routine is they don't do their eyebrows. I know for a long time I didn't even realize you could put any makeup in your eyebrows, but I have found such a difference in my looks since I've been filling in my eyebrows. And I really like this Anastasia brow powder. It basically just looks like this, and it's got two different shades. So what you would do with this is use an angled eyeliner brush. As you can see, it's got that little angled tip there, and I would take some of this lighter shade and put that right here on the inner part of my eyebrow, because that's naturally the lightest part of your eyebrow, and then take some of the darker shade and put it on the tail part. And then after you've lightly applied just a little bit to fill in your bald spots in your eyebrows, you can use a spoolie, which is basically just a mascara wand that didn't come in a tube of mascara. And you'll just use this to brush your eyebrow hairs up, and then you can smooth them in the way they should go with your finger. Your look is going to look a lot more complete and put together and refined if you do your eyebrows. Using this spoolie afterwards is pretty important because it's going to help kind of blend the powder in a little more and make it look a little bit more natural. So invest in an angled eyeliner brush and a spoolie. Another tip I have for eyebrows is to trim them. As you can see on my eyebrow right here, these hairs grow straight up, and they are really long if I let them go. If I just don't do anything with them, they get really super long. So what I do is I will, when I'm plucking my eyebrows, or I guess grooming them would be the right word, I will brush this eyebrow in the shape I want it to be. So I'll brush it into this shape, and then I'll just take these little cosmetic scissors and I will snip off the tops of those hairs until it's in a straight line with the rest of my eyebrow. I don't have as much of a problem with it on this eyebrow, but I do have to do it a little bit here too. So if you have that same problem and you want your eyebrows to look more like a nice shape, I really recommend getting a pair of cosmetic scissors and just trimming off the tops of them. Another tip I have is to tightline your eyes. What this means is you will take a black pencil eyeliner. It doesn't have to be this particular brand. I just happen to like this one. What you'll do with this is just take it and put it on this inner part of your lash line before you do mascara. And I'm talking about that little rim in there, the one that's right next to your eyeball. I know it sounds scary, and it is a little weird feeling at first. I'm not gonna lie to you. It's not the most comfortable sensation to do, but you'll get used to it and it'll be like a breeze for you after a while. But what this is gonna do is it's gonna make your eyelashes look a lot fuller. Honestly, try it and you'll see the difference. It's gonna make your eyelashes look a lot longer, and it's gonna make your eyeshadow look way more dramatic and pronounced, and it just makes everything look more cohesive. I really recommend getting a good lip liner. Lip liner is something I never really thought of as a necessity for makeup until recently. I started noticing that my lip color would bleed a lot more when I didn't use a lip liner. Obviously, you understand how lip liner works, but what you may not know is it's a really good idea to not only put the line on the outside of your lips, but to also just completely fill in your lips with the lip liner after you've lined them. And that's going to give you a really nice base for your lip color that you're going to put over top of it. It's going to help it just stand out a lot more and look a lot more clean and professional. Some brushes that I think you will find really helpful to have in your collection are a good, just general eyeshadow brush. But what I use this brush for is just applying my lid color. So the eyeshadow that I want to have on the biggest part of my eye, so like this gold part in here, I would apply with this because it doesn't need a lot of precision. I just need to get the color on there. You also want, this is probably the most important tool, the most important eyeshadow brush you could have. It's this fluffy blending brush. And I actually recommend having two of these. One will be for applying your kind of mid-tone transition shade, which is basically just the color that's going to go right here in this area. It's going to make everything blend out, and it's going to get rid of any harsh lines. So you'll take that transition color, and another reason I recommend this particular Naked palette is because it has a perfect transition color right here called Naked. So you would just take some of that on this fluffy brush and basically do windshield wiper motions right above that hollow in your eye. So right there you'll feel your brow bone, and you'll just... The reason you'll want to have two of those is because one will be for applying eyeshadow and the other one will be clean for blending out your final look. You don't want to apply more eyeshadow to blend. Sometimes you do, but for the most part it's better to have a clean brush, so I recommend having two. And this is also good for putting powder on top of your under eye concealer to help set it and keep it from creasing throughout the day. I really like having this smaller kind of defining brush. I think this is actually called the definer. So what this is good for is getting that darker color that goes on the outside of your eye. So you'll put your darker color here, and then you will just use your concealer to clean up the line on the edge there, or you will have had your tape there. So this brush is pretty important. What this is good for is applying eyeshadow underneath your eye. So when you're doing eyeshadow, the basic rule I follow is that I will put the same colors that I did up here under here, and I will put the darkest color that I used on the top. I'll put that on this outer corner. Then the second lightest shade that I used will go on this middle part, and then I'll just keep getting lighter and lighter towards the inner corner. and basically it's like you want it to reflect the top. It's going to bring it all together, and having eyeshadow under here is just going to make your whole look a lot smokier and a lot more complete, and it's going to make your lashes look longer as well for your bottom lashes. I guess kind of the last one that I have for you is oil absorbing sheets. So if you have oily skin like I do, these are really great to have for touch-ups throughout the day. A lot of people think that the only way to touch up their makeup is to reapply powder, and to me that's just kind of gross if you have a whole bunch of oil on your face and you're putting clean powder on top of that, because then it's getting in the brush or puff or whatever you use to put the powder on, and it's going to like cake it up, and it's just not really going to be ideal. So what I do is I will use an oil absorbing sheet, and I will just press it on where the oil is, and at that point you can either just leave it as is, or you can apply more powder on top of that, and that's a little better than just putting powder on top of your oily face. It's going to keep it from looking cakey. And if you do touch up with some powder throughout the day, I really recommend putting some more of this on to prevent the cakiness and powderiness. I hope this helped you a little bit. If you have any questions, please ask, because I would love to help you, and good luck!